6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Well, hello everyone. This is the First Circuit Podcast, episode 37.
Yay.
Today, we've got a couple people here. Say hello, Bida.
Hello, Beta.
Say hello, Lars.
Heyo.
Oh, come on, Lars, stick with the meme.
Meh.
Say hello, Old Bob.
Hello, old Bob.
And of course, there's me, Halloween. So, this week has been super incredibly exciting for every Battletech fan. But before we get to the big part, there are a couple of small Mechwarrior things we like to address. Real quick,
Yeah.
you may have seen them, so there was hotfix and so on. And of course, main topic tonight, Battletech finally got out. Battletech by Hairbrain Schemes, published by Paradox Selective. I'm gonna stop myself right there.
Oh, yeah.
You
Well,
guys go
we're
ahead.
all excited. But before we get into that, because we're gonna gush, guys, about
Gush.
Battletech, I'm sure. But I am the odd one out, and I granted I do have Battletech, but my hours are low, and I've actually been dabbling into Mechwarrior Online this week as well. I've been trying to split my time up, so I'll kind of handle the Mechwarrior Online stuff for about 5 minutes here, and then we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of everything else here. So the first thing we have up that was released this week is going to be a Solaris deal with MC. So they say it's a deal, but you also need to spend money to get some nominal items. I really wouldn't say that they are phenomenal, but just for example, I'm on the site right now, and we'll go over it real briefly for those who are watching. So essentially, if you want to purchase MC, you're going to get an extra little doodad or gift along with it as well. So if you spend the $7 one, you're going to get the usual MC, and then you're going to get an extra mech bay, and now you're going to be getting a ultra rare quick play crate, since they have brought those out during the last major update. And then going up there, $15, you get the 3000 MC, 2 mech bays, and 2 crates. It's okay. And then if you go $30, you're gonna get 6000 something MC, and then you're gonna get the free Roughneck Powerhouse. It is nice if you didn't get it whenever you logged in December. So for $30, I gotta say it's not horrible, especially because you are getting a decent amount of MC. And personally, I do like that Powerhouse Roughneck. It does work very nicely for what it is. And then whenever you go up, you get $50. You're getting more MC, and then you get a Division 4 Jaeger mech in a mech bay, which is, it's all right. And then if you're then mainly if you want to just whale all of the money, you're going to get the Max MC, and then you're going to get a Mad Cat Mark II with a mech bay, which honestly I really wouldn't go that high. And then down below on the site, you'll see that also if you do the gift codes of MCs, so you can go ahead and buy a gift code and give it to a friend, and the friend will then also receive the MC and the corresponding gift. Or you can just use that gift code on yourself and get these things too as well if you want to spend more money. So if you do these $6.95, you get the MC of 1,250, and then in return you get a bonus 72,800 GXP and 4 million C-bills. $15, 3,000 MC, more GXP, more C-bills. $30, you get more MC, and then they give you a Yenlo Wang for your Division 7 for Solaris. Then if you do the $50 package, you get more MC and a Rifleman, which it's all right. And then you get $100 and MC, and then you get a Kodiak. So, I mean, probably the only one I would even remotely look at if anyone out there was even interested would maybe, and this is a big maybe, for the Roughneck Powerhouse, and that's only if you're a fan of the Roughneck and you missed out on getting it when you logged in December. Besides that, I don't know if you would really want that bonus stuff. So mainly if you want to spend money, there is an event. The other slightly large item is that we had a hotfix in Mechwarrior Online where post patch from the largest patch that they had out there, they had some issues with the load times, especially in the mech bay and just getting in and out of matches. Since I played a little bit before the patch this week, and then I played a chunk of it last night and today post patch, I can attest it does work. That the loading times are now no longer a dread, from going from match to match. That's pretty much all it is. Is that they fix some technical issues that we're not going to get a lot into, but it works, and that's all I really care. So I'm happy to see that the game works. And then lastly, real quick, do we want to maybe touch on anything about Solaris 7 since we are a week out, and maybe what we think? If, does that game mode stick? Do we think it's going to last, or is it just going to be like faction warfare all over again, real quick?
Whoever wants to go,
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, to tell you the truth, though, once Battletech came out, I haven't even touched Mechwarrior. But I still love Mechwarrior, don't get me wrong. I think that Solaris, though, will go the faction warfare route, but not as bad as faction warfare, because you still play it really quickly, get stuff done, get some C-bills, and they did up the C-bill boost and the XP rewards, which is really nice, compared to just going to a quick play. So you actually make a little bit more money on Solaris than do anything else. But, of course, it is 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2. But overall, though, well, just like I was saying, that is Solaris 7 will have traction, just not as much as what they expected, but it's still going to be there. I'll just go ahead and jump in, do that kind of thing, and then jump back out again if I'm bored.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice quick play. So if you want to if you have time, so you know what, it would be the good alternative that if you have like an hour before work, or an hour before going to school or class, or an hour before some sort of other large family dealing. Personally, I wouldn't want to get into Battletech because that is a time pit, and I would spend all of my time in Battletech, as I've done, because I have not gone to bed at a certain good time because of that game. It's always the one more mission. But Solaris 7 is good if you have that extra bit of time to spare, and you're like, you know what, I want to get some zombie robots in for a little bit. Yeah, I got some time. I'll hop into it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's just it's cool to have in there. It's something more that Mechwarrior needed, because change is always good. No matter if it's bad change, it's still going to be good for a game that's been stagnant for a little bit. And then, of course, next month we maps and all that kind of stuff, like new stuff coming in. So Solaris 7, a great addition. As far as end all be all until Mechwarrior 5, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, at least from the Steam stats, so we've seen there has been the last 30 days roughly about 10%, 9 to 10% gain in the average number of players playing. So, fair number of people coming back to test out Solaris.
That's good. That's progress.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to dwell a lot on Solaris. Now, I'm more or less going to take more of a background approach to this one, because I know you guys have way more experience, because I've only spent 10 hours in this game. But let's just stroll right into Battletech. So I know you guys have a lot to talk about, so I'll kind of quip in whenever I can. So who wants to take lead?
Battletech!
There we go, Ian. I know, Ian.
I couldn't hold myself any longer. I'm sorry.
I could tell you're quiet the whole first half just now.
I know.
Granted, I've got nothing really to add to Microbus covered that well. But yeah, Battletech. As an introduction to Battletech, maybe let's do a too long didn't read kind of thing, and let's just say, do you recommend the game? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay.
I say yay, but there's a catch to it. I mean, I love the game. I would recommend it like crazy, but to certain people I wouldn't, though. For people like to jump around in what are those games like Call of Duty, basically stuff like that, they won't get it and they won't actually like it. But for a person that likes strategy games and maybe RTS games, not as much as RTS player purely, but like that type of style, you could definitely like this game, yes. But for the casual jumping around and shooting things like crazy and doing that kind of thing, this is not a game for you.
You know, for that, I kind of wish we had Aethermech, because
Yeah.
this is not his kind of game. He's more into the shooter kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Not sure if he even picked up the game. He's never been that keen.
exactly. Because that's why it'd be good to have him here to give his reasoning of why he wouldn't get it. But we've all got it, so screw it.
All right, so I'd say anonymous recommendations if you are on that kind of game.
Somewhat, because I was going to chime in because this actually feeds into my overall opinions about the game. And to give that, I give a bit of explanation, which would be, I think this game has a really solid foundation. The actual battles in game and all the technical decisions you can make are excellent. They've really hit it out of the park with the fighting with the battle mechs. And the overall management sim thing is also very competently executed. It all the bits fit in nice together. But there's one big fundamental but to this, and I would say it's a good foundation. However, there is a bit missing on top, the cherry on top to really make this fully come together. And for that, I think compared to other games like this, like XCOM, which are still like XCOM 2 is about the same price. XCOM 1, of course, a lot cheaper. They have just that extra little bit of polish or design that really makes them stand out. That this game struggles a little bit with, and that would be my suggestion. That since it's the same price as an XCOM, and particularly if you're looking at the digital deluxe content price. You might be better off if you're into these types of games getting an XCOM than this. However, that's not to say it isn't a very solid foundation. And of course, there's always room for further improvement.
Yeah.
All right. So that ties nicely into the second question I'd have to you. Do you think the asking price is worth it? And let's consider if you compare to XCOM. XCOM at launch was $60, and this game at launch is $40.
I mean, if it's like a few bucks cheaper, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I was gonna comment on that too. I do think that if it's like maybe like $29.99, $40 is a little bit expensive for what this is. I mean, granted, I'll be playing it for umpteen years. That's just because I'm a lore freak. But for the average player though, I think $29.99 probably would have been a better price for this. To tell you the truth, just like you were talking about like the polish from XCOM, so much into that. So much going on, so much, a lot more than what this is for almost the same price. And drop it $10, and obviously Steam will have sales and everything going on, but they're going to try to make their money first before they actually start having some sales. But $29.99 probably would have been a better price point.
I would say, just as a note, if you buy it on Steam with the digital deluxe content, which you really shouldn't bother doing, it comes out to like $55 or so,
Yikes.
at least for me. And
actually, if we talk about the digital deluxe edition real quick, the digital deluxe edition doesn't actually add any in-game thing per se. You get the soundtrack, which on its own costs $10, and you get a 450 pages art book, which I'm just gonna mention real quick, is absolutely fucking amazing. There's so much really good art in there. Like, it's literally 450 pages worth of wallpaper worthy pictures.
Oh, really?
That's awesome. I would love to have that.
Yeah, though you are paying a third of the price of the game on top, basically.
Yeah.
True.
To get all this stuff.
And the soundtrack can be found on Spotify. I listen to it at work.
I'll have to check that out actually because I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. I think it is still, it can ask for that price and be worth it, but it's just it's trying to put itself up there in terms of quality, but there's still an indie studio, and while they've made a great foundation, it's pushing the price a little bit. Though I think with all the buzz and all the people buying this game, you might as well, get some good money out of it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they'll probably do some updates too for more content later too.
Yep.
Oh, Hatchet Man!
Well,
and
we'll see about that. But we know we're gonna get the Warhammer Marauder as a free patch soon. We're gonna get stuff like support for Linux. That's what I was looking for. Linux support, widescreen support, that kind of stuff's gonna be free.
Well, that's interesting though. Like when they do bring the two mechs in, the Warhammer and the Marauder, some people are already gonna be done with the game. Will they want to go redo the game again? Do that kind of stuff or what?
Yes, because screw you, Harmony Gold.
There's obviously lots of stuff they could be doing, but for me, just again on price though, I got it for effectively $25 since I got in Kickstarter, so I got it for the nice, relatively cheap price.
Yeah.
So I'm totally happy with my purchase and helping the game come to fruition. To explain kind of like my main criticisms about this game, having played about 50 hours or so now, rounding up 1 hour probably, 50 hours. I would say that the thing with like a game like XCOM, the aliens are invading, and there's this constant pressure of you trying to combat their, constantly escalating invasion. And there's not really that time pressure in Battletech.
Yeah.
It's all just by the numbers in terms of the overall, strategy game, like this strategy map going around, taking contracts, etc. As long as you play that smart, you aren't ever going to get into problems. And similarly, for example, in XCOM, there was stuff like the terror missions. The aliens would get upset with you trying to stop all of their activities, and they would basically launch a terror mission, attack civilians, force XCOM to come out, and they send their best troops. So not only are you rushing around trying to save civilians, you're fighting against really tough opponents, and it makes you feel like the enemies in that game, they throw a spanner in the works, basically. Again, there's not really that much in the way of spanners in the works being thrown. There are occasional events that go on here and there, but without that, without any adversarial force fighting against you, it's all just play through the contracts, build up your mechs, build up your C-bills, build up the Argo eventually. Spoilers, in case that wasn't already made obvious enough by Battletech. And in some ways, like that's that little lack of spice and flair, that pressure, makes it a little bit banal. And if I could play XCOM for hundreds and hundreds of hours because you're under pressure, you could turn up the difficulty really high, you could do a whole bunch of extra modifiers. But Battletech doesn't have difficulty modifiers. It doesn't have surprise battles being thrown on you. You don't always need to be prepared. Everything is under your control. As long as you're a good enough numbers accountant, you'll be able to win the day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You do make a good point. Go on,
regarding the difficulty, just one thing I wanted to throw in real quick. Battletech's difficulty level exists in the extent that you kind of have to control yourself. So it's basically, you can obviously play it super self, always take contracts that are easier than your drop rate, but then you're obviously going to have a boring game. Or you can play a super exciting game and only pick missions that are like difficult for your drop rate. So to an extent, Battletech's difficulty kind of comes down to your own liking, which I personally like. So just wanted to throw the other opinion out here.
Well, also too, like for the people that like to reload all the time, in case of people dying, like a Sergeant Lance, what happens is if you're fighting like a heavy, say like a heavy lance, you got your medium lance, or like like a mixed lance, it resets the mechs into different tonnage rates, and so basically, even if you reload that game, you were fighting 2 Thunderbolts, now you're fighting 2 Griffins and like 2 Orions or something like that. Basically, it will do something different for the game itself, so that you just don't go, I'm going to get those Thunderbolts. I know I will get one of those Thunderbolts. It resets it. And as far as the difficulty level, just like you were talking about, it does have something like if you have a medium lance. Well, actually, like you have the skulls basically, 2, 2.5, 3, that kind of stuff. Normally 3 you're going to hit like heavy mechs. About 2 you're going to hit mediums, and then the 1.5 you're going to hit a bunch of lights. And just depending though, and some surprise contracts you will have that they will send like 3 lances of lights against you, and that really sucks. To go and be surprised like that, since you're trying to like defend a base or something, you can't kill them all. You're gonna lose money that way. But as far as like sorry, I was going to a subject here, but I forgot what I was talking about here. It's that old man type thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, my counterpoint, at least on that, is that when I choose a harder difficulty on XCOM, um, they
Oh,
change everything about how the game plays.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
aliens have more HP, they're more accurate, they often have more armor, more defense, etc., etc., and your guys are more prone to running away of fear and all that, and upgrades and all that take much longer. So it draws the game out and makes all the decisions a lot more impactful and makes the enemy a lot more scary for what you're facing. Whereas the quote unquote difficulty with Battletech is making really foolish decisions and
Yeah.
charging into things you're way above your tonnage grade. And I mean, you can try, but for the most part, I feel like it's a numbers game, and to some at least, I think it's not satisfying. Saying, "Oh, the only way to improve, make the difficulty harder is to, do a no armor run."
Yeah. Actually, you do make a good point though, as far as like there's no like major enemy out there, no time limit and stuff like that. You could do the story missions, and the story missions, gets you higher and higher, like inside the difficulties. But that's about it. There's nothing like attacking you all the time. There's nothing doing like that. But Mitch did say, like in the podcast, that it is a mercenary simulator. It's not really like a global effort to go and attack you, like like just so, like the clans are coming in or something. It's nothing like that. Now, this is their first game, and I do think though that after the success of this, which is astronomically high, if like if you look at the Steam stats on this, it's going to be better and better. They'll start putting patches and different other things, like for $4.99 you get to do this other mission or something like that. For $9.99, that way they actually make some money doing that kind of stuff, and then coincide into the clans. Once the clans come, then you're gonna have the spooky boogeyman like out there, and they're gonna come in and go and start killing everybody. So you will probably have that later on, though.
Yeah,
With success, what is it they say in the streams? With success,
all things are possible.
Exactly.
hmm
But they did say that it's going to be like, it's going to be the Ronin, it's going to be the Fourth Succession War, the Ronin War, and then the clan invasion, basically. So it'll be different, like steps until the clans, and everyone's foaming at the mouth for clans, which will be cool.
They'll probably like release them as just like different expansions. That's probably
Yeah,
how they'll
yeah.
release each one. But I mean, personally, in my opinion, I kind of like the laid back playstyle of it. With like, I kind of enjoy that non-rush of having to just get through the game to and being pressured. I kind of like having a game that I can sit back, have some coffee, and just do a few missions and just play it at my own rate. But that's just me.
Well, I would say, as the same with like XCOM or whatnot, it goes at whatever rate you want, because the
Yeah.
point with these is, you sit down, you make tactical decisions. There's no 60-second timer at the top unless you're playing, with somebody else.
Actually, hold on.
Right.
There is in some missions. I almost didn't do some missions. I mean, I was down to the wire to get one and to get some of these missions done. So, like,
I meant though, in real life
yeah,
timer.
yeah.
So if you're doing skirmish, you're playing with somebody else in this game, you will have to do your move within a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
otherwise, there are plenty of missions where you do have to get moving.
Definitely.
So, talking about basically biggest grudge, let's move on that. Lars, what's your biggest grudge with the game so far?
The biggest grudge right now is that I really don't have any large grudge because I haven't played, I would say, long enough to really build a grudge. The only grudge I do have is that it's not really game mechanic driven. It's more like whenever so I have two screens on my computer. So whenever, like right now on the stream, if I'm going to go ahead and click on my OBS program or Firefox,
God, yeah, yeah.
the game will auto minimize and then it goes away. That so far, that is my only major gripe, and I know it's just a small one, but that's about it. I mean, I can get around it by going down to the tray and re-clicking on it, but that's about it.
And like you play in full person mode,
Full screen, not windowed.
Yeah, basically playing window, like it has the same effect as far as being in, like in like OBS fully though, and like you're able to go back and forth, but you lose the sound if you click out of that screen, which kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest gripe I have as well too. It's just that simple thing. It's a small one. But another one of my biggest gripes too is it does get kind of repetitive. As far as like if you take a lower force contract going in and you got to fight a bunch of lights, you're like, okay, whatever, I got to kill a bunch of lights. This is going to take about 10 minutes. So you keep on doing those contracts, you just get, just like we were talking about, you get bored. You get bored after a while, and you have to actually make it exciting. You do higher end contracts, but being the repetitive motion that it has for the battles, you could pretty much kind of like bait them in different positions. And the AI isn't that intelligent to go ahead and do certain things. Like, why would he show his back to me? That's kind of stupid. I had a couple of mechs that just show their back. I'm like, okay, this is kind of bizarre. That's what like that's my other biggest grudge is kind of like the AI plus repetitiveness like of it as well.
I'm with you on that one to some extent, and I even wait. I had something to say.
Okay.
To go off that point, yes, the AI does need a few spanners, a few tweaks on the works to make it a little more intelligent, or at least on harder difficulties or against more experienced mech pilots. I will say the AI does somewhat perform better when they're given bigger mechs and more skills. Then they actually play with mind to those skills. But earlier on, they're all unskilled, light mechs scampering about, and you have to be really careful when you're in a light mech, and
Yeah.
the AI is not careful enough with those things.
Well, as soon as I see Locust, I just unload, 2 like Lerm 20s on them, and it's done. It's like, okay, next, type thing. It really doesn't have the feel of like, being, I mean, it has a full immersion effect, the game itself, don't get me wrong, but these lower tier battles, I'm like, I just need to get 400,000 to go pay my bills this month, and this will take 10 minutes, and that's basically what I'm talking about,
Yeah, and my biggest gripe, I remember what I wanted to say, is actually tying into the repetitiveness to some extent. The animations in sometimes are really slow.
Yeah.
And especially when you travel between worlds, if you've got a travel contract that forces you to do like 5 or 6 jumps, that's gonna take a bit because some of those cutscenes for the jumps you can skip, others you can't. In some of those cutscenes, the escape button is gonna open the menu, so you're like wasting another 2 seconds to close it again. So I'm thinking one of the first mods that I'm definitely going to be looking for is one that speeds up animations and one that allows you to skip cutscenes reliably.
See, like, I don't mind that, though, to tell you the truth, though. I kind of love that effect. And did you notice, though, some jump points have multiple jump ships. That means that system is actually booming to go purchase stuff. And so if you figure out where the system is, you're able to go purchase a bunch of different things because that system has much more trade. And that's one thing I love about that. Actually, they put in that detail for the simple fact is it's a hub for jump ships to come in and out and come in and out. I love that fact, and I don't mind the animations. Like, I just go get a cup of coffee or something.
I don't mind the animations either, especially the cutscenes. They're incredibly pretty, and I rarely skip them, or I rarely try to skip them. But once you play the game for like 11, 12 hours at a time, as I did on the first day, I was kind of like, I've seen this for the past 10 hours. Can I just skip?
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's my biggest grudge, basically.
I do personally, I do agree the immersion effect, but as always, it's nice to give people the option.
Yeah.
I would say though, personally, I've rarely ever jumped a great distance because the way I played was to save on money. It's like I go to the contracts thing. If I'm on the planet, there's any contracts to do, I do them.
Yeah.
And then like, oh hey, there's one over to the next planet. Well, I'll take that one then. And it's nice and close by. But even later on, I've got 2 contracts to travel to the next planet. They're both to the same planet. And funnily enough, at least, I had a little loop where I was building up, to be able to do the next story mission because I saw they were, the story missions are average quite difficult. And what happened was that I go to I go to planet A, do all the quests there, and then I get a contract to planet B. I go to planet B, do all the quests there, and then I get there's a contract over to planet A, and I just hopped between 2 planets. 2 or 3 times over, and that's how I built up a huge, powerful lance. They just kept giving work for me, but they would only give work for me after I left.
That's interesting.
So I did find that like in terms of strategizing the overall star map, I think so like the contract center. I'm only getting offered by one faction, and I already maxed out my reputation with them, and so I just kept running back and forth on their 2 planets. It would be interesting though if there were way more options that each of the factions offered you a contract, or at least there would be a bit more options, and so I could say, oh, I want to actually go up to Liao, I want to go over to Marek, etc. And at some point they might actually offer you a
quick question
contract.
between you haven't finished the story missions, right?
Not yet.
Because that's what I'd be interested in is once you finish the mission and this game becomes some like sandbox mercenary simulator, if the effect you're describing was gonna happen then.
Ooh, that's true, huh?
Yeah, I do hope they open up, but obviously it'd be a huge nuisance to have it at the end of the storyline because, going through the storyline, you're going to max out your lance basically for the most
Yeah.
part. So
Standard
at that
Scout lance.
point, I'm not really, I don't have much to play for past that point. And the meat of the game is whilst you're playing the storyline, building up for the storyline, etc., and just jumping back and forth between 2 planets. It's like, well, I'm in the end I enjoy the missions, but this whole overworld, I'm not really traveling the stars, am I?
Yeah, that is interesting. Like, what happens after story missions? Can you just run around, right? Like a normal.
You can run around anytime, mostly. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's very like sandboxy.
I never thought about that though, because like if I finish, like of course I'll be trying again, but like what do I do after that? It's like, okay, I conquered the universe. What do I do now? Type thing. I wouldn't know what to do actually. I'll just do another game, do another go start over again and try something else. Try like a different playstyle, I guess.
Yeah, it's just I'm always sort of led by the nose a little bit by that free travel costs, because it saves you a bit of sea bills each and every time, like 30k sea bills per jump, and it's a kind of trivial amount, but every 1,000 sea bills does add up. So why not take the free trip? And I did for a little time try to go just to a random star, and I traveled there, and there was one mission in the next star over. And I was like, oh, so yeah, I'm constantly being led by the nose to the planets where they have loads of missions, but if I try and head out on my own, I don't really find much. Like it's slim pickings.
Yeah, that one kind of depends on luck and actually what
Location.
kind of planet you're traveling to. Yeah, like for
Yep.
example, if you actively look for a planet that has a big population and is industrious, you're probably gonna get a bunch of missions there. But if you find a uninhabited or abandoned planet, well, yeah, why would you ever go there?
Yeah, basically any abandoned place you want to stay away from because they're not going to have much as far as stuff to do there, basically. Because no one's gonna hire you to go ahead and like collect those rocks over there. Ooh, Cleft Stand. Okay, yeah. So yeah, basically like also too like when you do travel to different worlds, you want to look everything over. Basically what's there: mega city, black market, manufacturing. Just all different things. That way you're able to check out the store and see what's going on like over there.
I mean, personally, what I did was I was led to the nose to a new planet, and instead of looking at any of the attributes there, I just click on the store button and check out the store, and that's all I needed.
Okay, so let's we've talked a bit about our grudges with the game. Let's talk about what we really like about it. So real quick, without big explanation, what's the thing you like most about the game? I'm gonna just start off and say lore. Bob, continue.
I'm gonna say the details. Basically, like I think I posted like on my Twitter, there was a movie that in the lore there was a movie, I forgot what the name of the movie is, but I tweeted it though. There's some movie that's popular in the inner sphere that we found on some planet that we decided to go make a movie night of just seeing that film, and that detail that they have
are you
of that.
talking about the Mechwarrior series?
I think so. Like, no, actually, it was a political thriller. Like I forgot what it's called though.
Okay.
But that like, but it is inside the lore itself of the game. So that detail they put into the game is what attracts me so much about this, because it's like the little things you see, the little things inside the game that us lore freaks would actually know about it, but no one else would. But we'll be like, oh my god, it's that political thriller, the movie. That's us, and we would get totally thrilled about it. But that little detail is what I love about this game, and just little things, and that's what really makes any game like Fallout 4. All the lore they have in there, the same thing, the little tiny details, like like a like teddy bear smoking a cigarette, like in a bathtub with a dead body. That detail is just awesome. I mean, that's not awesome, but that detail they have is just, why is that teddy bear there inside the bathtub with a dead body, type thing. And that's a thing that you see inside Battletech, is just one of that little tiny things they have, and this is just great.
Okay. Real quick, have you watched the Hyper RPG series Death from Above yet?
I can't get those. I know they're on somewhere, but I watched like 2 or 3 episodes, and they're actually pretty good. They do a lot of detail like in that one as well.
Yeah, because if anyone in chat for chance has watched Death from Above, Battletech features a lot of Easter eggs and callbacks to Death from Above.
Oh,
which
really?
is super cool, because Death from Above is officially not canon. It's not technically part of lore, but with this game, they've basically made everything that happened in Death from Above part of canon.
Oh, they
Because
did.
this game is canon, so it's really cool.
That is awesome.
I
Just want to add that.
I can't unhear the Lord Commander on the Argo.
Yep.
Well, also too, the detail I was talking about is you hear over the intercoms of like, hey, like get these mech warriors out of the mech bay type thing, or like, basically, like, if you find a fluffy animal, don't bring it aboard. Those little things they put inside of you listening, like in the background, playing the game over the loudspeakers, is just one of the things that puts a lot of detail into the game itself, and like it has an immersion effect getting into it, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, and I know personally, kind of going into the immersion and lore, and going from a person who does not know a lot about the lore of BattleTech, the one thing that has helped me a whole lot is that whenever you do in-game conversations, they'll have those portions in orange in the text, and those are like lore cliff notes. I love those
Yes,
because I'll see a term and I'm like, what does that mean? I hover over it and it tells me exactly what it is to get me into it.
exactly. That's one of the things that basically that would help new players getting into the game, because like not everyone is like lore freaks like we are, and for them to come in, like I know there's a couple streamers that are watching their stream and like, I don't know anything about the lore, but this is cool. But when they cursor over, they're like, "Oh, that's cool," that type of thing. So it gets them into it, and it helps new players come in, and that's good, man. That's really good they did that.
I would say I do really like the audio background stuff, but then looking forward, they do need to add more.
Yeah.
Because over time you do hear a lot of repeats. There's only so many lines they've actually recorded, and there's an awful lot of references to, oh hey, if any of you guys have picked up, some of that, what was it, like wine, or some drink, don't drink it. And then there's if there's a horrible contagion on the last planet, and I was just like, wait, does that mean that both planets I'm bouncing back between have a horrible contagion? Am I spreading the disease?
Give them both.
Oh god. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And I'll hear it multiple times, like I'm fiddling around in the mech lab, and I can spend a while doing stuff in the mech lab, and it's just like, oh hey, I remember that message a few minutes ago.
Maybe like an update or something like that, they could pop in with like 100 more lines or something. That'd be kind of cool to go and do the go and increase the game to put that immersion effect like into it as something different.
Yep.
Yeah,
And maybe
and
to broaden this particular topic in general, what's your opinion about the writing and voice acting? Like, I'm just gonna say glitch and leave it at this.
Glitch
is the glitch. I love Glitch. She is so overly cheerful, but wants to kill everything
and dies all the time.
Really?
Well, dude, I have to reload her. That's my one rule. Decker dies, Glitch lives. So I reload Glitch.
Glitch for me has been pretty solid.
Yeah.
And of course, also viewers, we're not spoiling these. These are the first few characters you're gonna get, so it's not like spoiler territory either.
And did you actually like Majestic got his own character like in the game?
I did see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So can you get other players in the store?
Basically, what it is if you spent over $250 or something like that, like in the backer, you could actually get your name in the game itself. So like you'll be a pilot somewhere like inside the game.
Yeah. So since we backed it on Kickstarter,
No,
we
actually,
can
like you got to spend
get-
over $250. Did you spend over?
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
I missed that part. I'm sorry. Yeah, yep, I didn't do that.
Yeah, yeah, no. I mean that'd be kind of cool. It's like, hey man, I got old Bob as a pilot.
That'd be pretty
That'd
bitchin'.
That'd be bitchin' as hell. I wish I would have done that. See what I know now though. God.
It's
Yeah.
coming, old Bob, when they put the Roughneck in the game.
Because of the wiki.
Yes.
I know, huh? I know. But
Oh, also good.
sorry, bud.
Real quick, in chat, a person saying, "Where's the clans?" There are no clans, correct?
There's no
No
clans.
clans.
It's 30-25 like right now.
Clans, and there won't be clans for the next couple of years at least.
Couple years, you think?
Yeah,
gonna be a
think
few
so. I mean,
games,
they have to
yeah.
go through the whole of the fourth succession war and the like all of the other conflicts, the major conflicts that are happening before the clans.
Well, yeah, you got the run
There's
of war
quite a bit
for
of load to
succession.
cover before the clans actually come in.
Mm-hmm.
War 30-39. Yeah, true. Actually, they would it'd be at least 2 war games before they jump into the clans, or they just might just jump into it because they see a moneymaker like right there.
I'm actually gonna think if like that's also kind of what HBS hinted to. They are most likely to expand this game, like basically double up the map and over the conflicts of that part of area. Advance the timeline 10 years, double up the map again, stuff like that.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Rather than
You-
creating a whole new game.
I think you want people, to some degree, you want to get people attached to the inner sphere before jumping in with the whole clan invasion stuff. But jumping straight to the clan invasion means you can't really go back, and you're sort of stuck at that point. Building up to it, yes, people know what's coming, but so you spent so many games, the inner sphere. They've been expanding the library. They've made it so that machine guns don't look like flamers on the mechs anymore. Yeah, all that great stuff.
And
So-
to cover one of the other comments in chat real quick, the Wolf Dragoons, they joined the Innosphere in the year 3005.
Yeah, 3005.
This game plays 20 years later. By this time, the Wolf Dragoons are already like engaged in major conflicts. So currently, they're not part of the game.
At 3025, I think they're working for Davion right now.
Yeah, should be Debian right now.
Yeah, and when the Fourth Succession War came out, they actually they basically tied up Kurita's army like pretty much because he hated them like crazy during the Fourth Succession War. So they are engaged in different other things. Like you probably won't see them though, but it'd be pretty cool though. Like you meet up with the Wolf Dragoon mech or like storyline basically or something like that. They could do that though. Like all the major units.
One of the Kickstarter extension goals actually was camo of certain people and units. Like Natasha Kerensky, for example, was one of the major examples of the camos that are promised and will be in the game as soon as HBS has time to implement them.
Ooh,
So
that'd be
you're
cool.
gonna get your Dragoon references. You're even likely to meet a couple Dragoon characters at some point, but not right now.
So I got a question. Like, what do you think can actually be expanded on this game as far as like what would be cool for them to have besides the clans and like all that kind of stuff? What do you think that they could improve upon this game itself?
I would say it's interesting. Like you mentioned, like we said, like all the different planets. You can look at all the attributes, and that will impact what they'll have in the store. But as I said, I'm led by the nose to whatever planet I happen to come across, and I just look at the store anyway. Another thing is similarly, like the Mechwarriors also have all these attributes, though I haven't ever really had them play up into much, if anything. And I personally, sometimes a bit of a cheapskate, so new mech warriors I hire are just random peasants off the street, and they have they have the taglines peasant and nothing else, so they don't even have much of a backstory to play into, even if backstories or whatever played into anything.
They're the toilet cleaners, right?
Yeah, but that's sort of the thing actually. They had talked quite a bit about the event system and saying, oh yeah, but this and that and the other could play into it. But I've actually not come across that much in the variety of events thus far. Like one of them is sort of like, oh hey, we found that there's a bit of the budget is on buying holovids so to keep people entertained, and you get an option of like spread it around to the crew, keep it to yourself, or if you have an upgrade you can show it, have it in the lounge, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I have the enhanced lounge, so I show it there. Ooh.
Ooh.
I've had that happen twice, which is nice. It's one morale boost every time for me, but I had the same thing. It's just like, hey guys, let's watch more holovids, I guess. Oh no, that thing happened again. I guess I'll click this option. Oh look, I got the success again.
So
yeah.
based just like voice acting, the also the loudspeaker stuff, they should implement more events or just an update. Say here's 30 more events popping in sometime. Don't know when. Here's a bunch of voices. Here's a bunch of different like this kind of stuff as an update. That might be it might be a very good idea.
Need a lot more events, I think. Like in terms of battles, they've done a brilliant job. Set different text descriptions for each battles, a different scripting for different battles, so there's a huge amount of variety there, and reading all that text stuff actually informs you a little bit on how the battle will actually turn out. Like I had one where they talked about oh hey, they're not paying their rent, they're not paying the money for the vehicles, so go and destroy the vehicles, and we think they probably have a lot of vehicles.
Like
and I like
Devastators.
that the description, like the descriptions are great, but the events, I've had them double up, triple up on me many times, so that needs a lot of improvement. I'd also say, I'm not sure, I'm not a big fan of, I really like the Mechwarrior voice lines, but when you're in the Argo or the Leopard, when you jump to somebody there, they've done an echo effect, but their voices are also so timid. It doesn't really sell you the main characters. It's just sort of, I arrive at the mech bear, it's like, hello, Commander.
Yeah, true.
Yes, hello. And then, when I leave, he's like, goodbye, Commander.
It does really get to
It's
like,
very
like
flat.
talking to you basically.
Yeah.
Now, like I think one thing that they could probably improve on is next game they make for BattleTech, like you could have a company. Basically, you have to do a company. So like you have to purchase a Union class dropship or 3 Leopards or something like that. So like and then you also can have aerospace fighters. So when you do come to a planet that you need to go quote invade, that pirates are holding, they might have a couple aerospace fighters protecting that planet. So you have a aerospace battle before the drop point. That'd be kind of cool as well. Plus, to do a mercenary unit of 12 mechs, you could have more options to go and send. I'm going to send 4 mechs to go kill the power plant that's over there on the other side of the planet, and then my other 8 mechs, by that time the power plant's done and destroyed, the shield generator, like whatever basically, or the power for the turrets will be gone, and now I'm going to go have my 8 mechs go attack the city. Something like that would be kind of cool to have as a company commander instead of just one lance. Or another thing they could put in too would be you could actually have combined arms, so helicopters, tanks, and troops, and then also your mechs as well. So like basically, it's probably like going to be more on the company side of like everything. You could actually have like a intruder dropship drop in 4 troops and 2 lances of tanks, and then you have your Union drop your 12 mechs. So it's a little bit a bigger scale for the game itself, and probably be a lot cooler, I guess, for me. But I mean, that'll just make me just gush. It's like, oh my god, this is so cool. But
no, I mean, I agree. I think it'd be, I think it'd be a really good addition that, if they did a later expansion, that it just wasn't all mechs. You could have a tank, or you could have some VTOLs, something like that would
maybe chime in on that particular topic. Originally, the plan was that you could have off the map support vehicles and stuff like that. That didn't make it at launch. I think it's very likely that we're gonna get support vehicles at very least, artillery, repair vehicles, stuff like that.
Okay.
Infantry. is also something that didn't make it at launch.
Oh,
Which
okay.
is
Oh.
gonna get added to the game because everyone wants it. So
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
fairly
great.
certain it's gonna happen.
That would
And
give me a reason to use machine guns.
yeah, and
There
aerospace
is
fighters kind of
use
like
them.
I like the idea, but implementing aerospace combat would be like basically creating a whole different combat game.
Okay, how
Which
about this then?
I don't think that's kind of out of scope.
How
Well, I
about
mean,
this?
you think about XCOM 1. I mean, whilst
Yeah,
that's
I
an
don't want
airspace
that
game,
to happen.
Well, how about this then? Basically, like like instead of like the the aerospace combat game, you could have like if I have 2 aerospace fighters versus his 3, I might take some damage to my mechs dropping down because my guys got destroyed, but they're like let's say they're like drones or something like really easy to get. So my mechs might be a little bit destroyed, but if I upgrade my aerospace fighters beforehand, I might kill theirs and I won't have any damage going down to the planet. Something like that, or just make it more like it doesn't even have to have the aerospace aspect to it. But just to have the combined arms of the tanks, the vehicles, and the mechs, and then also the infantry will be a great addition. And, especially with 12 mechs, it would be a lot cooler. At least I think.
I think, as I said earlier, I think the battles on the ground are solid, and obviously you can still do more with that in adding infantry, more mechs, more vehicles, and options for the player to interact with that, etc. My first area of focus would just be the overall expanding the overall metagame. For example, at least as it currently sits, there's the mech tech and med points,
Yeah.
and that's really kind of bare bones as it stands.
Yeah, yeah, because I see them right now, and I hate to say, I didn't really like notice them until about a half an hour ago. I'm like, oh, there's these things here.
Let's say for the sake of argument that I really don't like having my mech warriors getting injured, from headshots and falling down, etc. That maybe at higher levels I find, oh, I'm getting so many SRMs, LRMs thrown at me, at least one of them's going to hit the head every so often. And instead of hiring a whole lot of mech warriors, I want to stay with a small crew and have a very good medical staff,
Mm-hmm.
What ways can I do about that in this game? Well, I upgrade, the leopard. I think there's nothing really much you can do.
No, that's nothing.
Yeah, huh.
In the Argo, you have to buy an extra habitation pod and then buy the upgraded mech lab.
Yep.
And then you have to, for the next level mech lab, and it gives you 1 point, by the way,
Yeah.
for the first upgrade. And then you have to buy the next level of pod, and then buy the final mech lab upgrade, which gives you, I think, like 2 or 3 points. Ooh.
Yeah, like 2 of
But
them basically. Yeah.
it's a long way down the line until I get I've added 2 or 3 points to that, that starting number. There's no allocating budget to more medical supplies. At the start, all you could do is say, I'm spending a lot of money, average money, or no, I'm really frivolous, really stingy with my money. I can't individually tailor saying, you know what, I'm going to, spend a lot of money on mech techs and medical, because I think that's really important for, getting more jobs done.
Well, like let's say about this. So,
Well-
like in the normal Mechwarrior game itself, the role playing game, where you actually have a mercenary like company, you go ahead and like develop it. You need to hire like expert mechs or expert medical personnel that actually have a better I guess generate medical points for your crew and everything, or actually like the company. So like something like that might be implemented later on. Like I have 6 like experienced medical technicians or the med techs or something. The rest are green, but I produce this amount of repair points or something like that to go ahead and be used against it. So that might actually be really cool to put inside the game.
Yep.
I completely agree on that. One point I do want to throw in though, one of the major things in Battletech has always been the meat is cheap, the metal is expensive. So
Yeah.
I personally really like the implementation of this right now, where it's like, yeah, your pilots are gonna be knocked out often, but you don't want to get attached to them anyway. You just want to be sure that
No,
your mechs
reload
don't
glitch.
die.
Sorry, reload glitch.
Ironically, though, at least from my perspective, I find each of the mech warriors ask for a 30k salary or so, whereas my assault mech asks for 12k. and I only need 4 assault mechs, whereas of course, you know, 4 fully skilled up Mechwarriors are each asking 50k a piece. Like one of my Mechwarriors has the same salary as an entire mech does. And the thing is, at least with how I play, I armor up my mechs like crazy. I don't need to pay repairs much. You know, a lot of the time I'm just sending them out on missions. They come back and they don't have to spend any cash because they only took armor damage. So for me, actually, the flesh is really expensive, and the upgrades to the med bays take forever.
In fact, I'm looking at my like on my sheet right now. My personnel, my salary is 315,000, and the operating cost is 258,000. So that completely is wrong right there.
Yeah, half of my operating costs is salaries for the Mechwarriors.
Yeah,
the flesh is super expensive. Like that's that is the most expensive thing in my entire mech company. I like 75% of my expenditure or whatever is probably been on the damn Mechwarriors.
Well, just think when you start getting 24 Mechwarriors with the habitat pods, like the habitat or the gamma pod, that's 24 Mechwarriors you're spending money on. You're looking at like probably 1 million C-bills per month to go ahead and just have these guys inside the mech bay, like just have them just ready to be used. Now, I normally keep about 8 just in case, because I have like a secondary lance just ready to go in case my other lance gets hammered. And then I could drop these in to go ahead and make some money to go pay my bills. And that's what I've been doing. But I mean, you really only need quote 8 guys per se, type thing. And
yeah, I totally agree. You start with about up to 8 Mechwarriors, and you need only about 8 Mechwarriors. All the upgrades to the habitation pods are not worth it, and since they're so expensive, I'm not going to hire 24 Mechwarriors. I don't know why you think this is important.
Yeah, true. That might be something that they might want to go and like fix like later on, because just like we were talking about, like it's like flesh is more expensive than actually than the mechs themselves, the operating costs.
And I get attached to my characters.
I do too.
I hate losing them.
I do wish you could at least have the option to customize them a little bit, just like an XCOM or whatever. So then I could have the my first 4 Mechwarriors would be by to Ian, Lars, and Old Bob, and then
that'd be really cool. Actually.
Yeah, I'd have to tell Old Bob next week he got horribly injured, but it was for a good cause. I told him to jump on top of a mech and both legs broke, and he kind of
dude, I did that for Space Hulk, and I named the people who used to watch my Space Hulk series. I named them, like, after say, "Oh man, I'm sorry, you got eaten by Gene Stiller, man. I'm sorry about that. Last week you got killed." But yeah, that would be kind of cool if they did. Go ahead, go ahead, Needy.
Maybe since we are kind of running out of time, one last topic I would really like to touch on, because it's something that may throw some people off the game, is the art style. So Battletech, as you may have noticed by now, is featuring a kind of different cinematic art style where they move animated pictures rather than rendered 3D scenes. And I would just like to know your opinions about those.
I like them because other games that I've played, which include Guild Wars, they've done it, and something in one other game I can't think of it, but I think it works out well. I think it, I don't mind it. They are pretty. They're slightly animated. Oh, Dragon's Crown. That's the other one I'm thinking of. But yeah, as long as it tells a compelling story and with a decently interesting visual, I'm cool with it.
Exactly. I highly enjoy them. I mean, oh my god, it's something different that I haven't seen a lot of games do. I haven't played Guild Wars, so I can't really tell you, but I mean, it's amazing the stuff they've actually done with that, and I wouldn't know how to do it myself. That'd be kind of cool to go ahead and do. But yeah, I mean, the art style is beautiful.
Yeah, and actually, it's the first time I've seen this kind of cinematic art style was in the Homeworld series. I don't know if any of you played it. It's the old strategy series.
Nah,
and the Homeworld series was the first game that ever emotionally took me with it as a strategy game, and it was 100% due to that art style. So, I personally love it. It's a throwback, kind of nostalgic, amazing.
I would say, at least in terms of how I feel about the story, like I like the look of the mechs. The presentation is top notch overall, but there is a lot of kinks to how it presents like the actual main storyline. Personally, I feel like, um, and I'm not fully getting involved in it. And I think like back when I play the Shadowrun games, there's lots and lots of text, and your character is personally talking with, you're personally there on the scene talking with other characters. It's a very small scale thing going on. Whereas BattleTech, it's this big, huge, epic story, or at least there's a whole war and stuff going on, and yes, there's the cinematics that are very pretty. It's like you'll see stuff like, oh hey look, there's a dropship coming down, because in the war at some point dropships may invade. I'm not trying to spoil the game too much here. And oh look, there's a battle mech. But that's all pretty and all, but the majority of the story is presented through just talking to peeps and text boxes, people talking to you whilst on a mission, or people talking about the political situation. And I'm fine with those well enough. It's just it doesn't click with me, and there's some real big issues sometimes with the juxtaposition between being in the your leopard dropship or the Argo and talking with people, and then suddenly being on the planet. If there was just sort of a little bit between that where I'm just it just sort of like, all right, so we're going to do the mission, and then suddenly we're on the planet, and then someone says, hey, the Argo has exploded, or something like that, and I'm just like, oh, okay then. Time to pilot mechs, I guess. I don't know what happened, but plot twist.
Context is there, but I guess that's all we have.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
just when stuff happens off screen, it's a little harder for me to connect with, and sometimes the focus of the cutscenes isn't connecting all the dots together. It's showing X thing really, in a pretty light.
So yeah, so I guess to recap, would you buy it again?
Yes.
Yes, same.
Yes.
Yes.
Same price, certainly.
How much would you pay for the game?
I'll say, would you do the crazy amount of money to get your own character as a person that you
Yes.
you could buy?
Yes.
you would go
do
to the-
Yes.
Would you actually?
Yeah, dude. You kidding? Dude. Oh my God. Come on. I'm Lord Freak Extraordinaire. I would love have my name inside the game itself in BattleTech. Hell yeah.
I would use my like tax return money for that.
And plus you get the BattleTech jacket, which I wanted so
Yes,
bad.
That's the reason
Yeah,
why I would do
that.
it. You get the Battletech jacket.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh God, I wanted that so bad. And at the time I didn't have any money, so I'm like, oh God, I'll just get the backer thing.
Yep,
That's
same
fine.
here.
I'll get the game.
Yeah.
And it's not on eBay yet. No one's selling that.
I know, but
they're,
yeah,
they're
I
not
would love.
gonna sell that.
I would love to have that jacket. I would wear it every single day. I mean, literally, I would wear it to work, saying, "Look, bitches, this is my BattleTech jacket," type thing. I would
And they'd be like, no.
I wouldn't care because I'm BattleTech.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
I would say, yeah, I would say, at least since I'm quite invested into BattleTech Universe or whatever at this point, obviously I would pick it up at its full price, or wait until it's on sale. But I'm looking forward to possibly any DLC or future Kickstarter or whatever for the next game. I'm very much looking forward to it. Otherwise, just as a general rule, I would say that it has some really solid combat, solid presentation, and fairly solid story and whatnot. However, it's just a little. It has troubles when you go long in the tooth. It's not a game you'll be playing forever, or at least so to speak.
yeah. I just want the jacket and my name forever immortalized inside BattleTech.
Yes.
Okay, so Ian, take it away.
Take it away.
Take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to the First Circuit Podcast, episode number 37. Thank you all for stopping by, and this is your cast saying goodbye. Say goodbye, Biter.
Goodbye, Biter.
Goodbye, Biter.
Say goodbye, Lars.
Goodbye, Lars.
He did it. Say goodbye, old pup.
Goodbye, Ian.
Goodbye, old pal.
I cracked you on that one.
Thank you for stopping by.
You guys have a good night, man. Check you
Alright,
later.
see ya. And also real
Bye-bye.
quick, in about half an hour, my group is doing mass PPC group drops.
One other thing.
Check.
Sorry,
Yes.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'll be doing
was
that
such a
on
good
my
ending.
Twitch channel. If you want to go ahead and see mass PPC dumb bullshit.
One other thing. Community spotlight. Obesus just got a haircut.
Yes, that was
Ooh.
the thing.
Okay.
Getting
Anyway,
Yeah.
see ya.
Later. See you later.